Hello and welcome to Markets Forward, your go-to show where we aim to get you all the key data points to gear you up for the next trading session and tell you about all what took place in today's session. I'm Rajul D'Souza, joining with me, my colleague Rima Tendulkar. Hey Rima.
Hi, next 20 minutes we're going to be with you and this is what we have for you. All the big news, the key developments at Dalal Street, top corporate voices and the events to track ahead. But first, let's get to the market action, right? What a day. It started off slow, in fact, under pressure, right? The Nifty and the Sensex were down close to about 0.6%. And you look at the picture at the end, all-time high levels.
Well, that's right. Rima, it seems that for the first half of trade, the bears would have felt on top and the bulls came back and knocked them out because that's the kind of recovery that we saw. The intraday chart should come up for you on the screen and that's telling you till around 1:30 p.m. odd, the bears felt that this is their day. But just take a look at the fight back that we saw, and it had an element of expiry as well that plays out because today was the weekly expiry. Well, let's take a look at the big gainers today. You had a couple of auto stocks as well as IT stocks. Nvidia, I remember, came out with a set of numbers and it's expected to react positively in the US markets today. Well, you had IT names that did well, whether it was HCL Tech or TCS, both of them did pretty well in today's trading session. Bajaj and Eicher from the auto pack, both of them, they were flying away in trade. And, you had banks actually, they recovered from the day's low, 500 points from the day's low. But what helped combat that was a couple of large heavyweights. That was ITC and L&T, both of them did well. And that's what combated the Nifty Bank. But, Rima, if you're just talking about the Nifty Bank, it's not really doing justice to today's trading session because the crisscross line should come up for you. The number of stocks that were advancing had gone down to just around 300 stocks. By the time you wound up, you had more number of stocks that were advancing in comparison to the number of stocks that were declining. So when you're checking your portfolio today, you'll say, why is it green? Well, that's the reason, because that's the big recovery that we saw. And throughout the trading session, even when the Nifty was under pressure, even when the Nifty Bank was under pressure, the small cap index was in the green and the mid cap index was doing a relative outperformance. You pull up the chart, we'll tell you the picture out there. So a splendid trading session from a broader market perspective.
No, absolutely. The all-time high level on the Nifty now stands at 22,252. We closed at 22,217, a gain of 160 points, but from the day's low, it was a recovery of close to about 350 points. In fact, at one point of time, it was nearing a 400-point pullback from the session lows. Asian markets were also fairly upbeat today, so that added to the strength perhaps in the market. Nikkei ending with a gain of about 2%. The momentum, the upward momentum and bias continuing in Chinese markets and Hang Seng. And the mid caps, they were underperforming at the beginning of the week, and today you saw that outperformance. But week to date, the mid cap index is still absolutely flat. A quick word on the sectoral big movers today. The gains were led by IT. So IT was the top sectoral gainer with a rally of close to about 2%. Autos was the next best, up 1.6%. CPSE index, that's the PSUs, the PSU lot, that was up 1.6% too. Banks were on the back foot today, particularly on account of HDFC Bank, and that's the reason why the Nifty banking index was down close to about 0.25%. But let's tell you what we have for you on the show in the next 20 minutes. We start with the top movers of the day. We get to the stocks with Hormuz. Also, the two stocks that were on our radar today were Grasim as it forays into the paint business, and ABB India continues to gain on the back of bullish brokerage commentary. We take you through the key reasons that made these stocks excited. And CNBC-TV18's popular segment, D-Street Chatter, also on the show where Nimesh will tell us why Concor was buzzing today. And last but not the least, the key events to prepare you for tomorrow's trading session. But let's get to them. The first segment, that's Hormuz. He joins in he's at the big wall right now with the top stock movers of the day. Hormuz.
With the kind of trading session that you have had today, it's unsurprising that there will be more gainers than losers. But the good bit is that after almost 3 days of pain, the IT stocks have finally emerged in the green, with the Nifty IT index doing what it did and all the heavyweight IT stocks contributing to the market recovery today. HCL Tech, Tech Mahindra, TCS, Emphasis, Wipro. The good bit, almost all of them ending at the highest point of the day. That was a positive for IT stocks. What also did well today was auto names, and the Nifty Auto Index was also among the top sectoral gainers after IT, Eicher, Bajaj Auto, M&M, Maruti Suzuki and TVS Motors. And the good bit here as well is that barring Eicher Motors, all four of them, barring Eicher, the rest of the four have all ended at a record high in today's session, including Bajaj Auto. The other sector that did well today was capital goods, and as you highlighted, ABB India, that continues to surge after its earnings. Another 9% today, another record high and ending at the highest point of the day. And in continuation with that, other peers like Cummins, Thermax, Kalpataru and BHEL also ended at the highest point of the day and with significant gains as well. We highlighted Tata Investment Corporation yesterday, and there is no let up there as well. 7.5% higher today as well. Another record high, 8th day of gains for Tata Investment, and it's up 33% in this 8-day rally. But what did not do well today was Supreme Industries, and that stock saw a sharp correction today. It is recovery from the lowest point of the day, but still ended 3.5% lower, and it broke below its 200-day moving average in today's session. And lastly, BF Utilities, that stock did very well in today's trading session. Another 11.75%, 860, the highest level that the stock has seen in 13 years. So a good day in the office for BF Utilities and a lot of other broader market names as well. Back to you.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that, Hormuz. Well, joining us on the show today, we have Shilpa, Rout, Prabhudas, Lilladher, and we're also joined by independent market expert Ambareesh Baliga. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining in. Well, Shilpa, you go first. What a recovery, right? The bears would have got knocked out by the end of it. It clearly shows that if you're getting a dip, you need to participate, and buying the dips has worked perfectly.
Yes, perfectly. And talking about the sector, this fall today in the morning, we have been recommending that this is a buying opportunity. And as long as Nifty holds 21,800 and Bank Nifty with this 46,500 to 46,300 zones, we are safe to say that we might see a bounce back. But of course, we never expected that index hitting a new lifetime highs today, which is a very pleasant surprise. So yes, all is well. And we might see this momentum continuing for Nifty, where 22,500 should be coming in a week's time. And for Bank Nifty, this 47,200 and above close will definitely give you that, a confirmation momentum where you will see 48,500 to 49,000 coming in as well.
Any stocks which, look interestingly poised, for tomorrow's trading session that you would like to keep on your radar?
Yes, definitely. I have, the most relevant sector for the day was realty. And in this, I believe overall realty is very strongly placed. It is heading towards 1400 and 1420 zones. I believe by tomorrow it should be that levels where, you can see. Apart from that, autos as well. Eicher Motor is also very well poised. I believe, 5 to 7% top upside on immediate basis can happen on the stock very easily, where 4,200 levels one can expect.
Okay, all right, got that, Shilpa. Well, Ambareesh, I wanted to ask you as well, about a couple of these names. You had HDFC Bank that was under some pressure again today, and that was the reason actually the Nifty Bank ended in the red. What's your view? Right. Would you be a buyer at current levels?
As an investor, I would be a buyer in HDFC Bank, and clearly keeping in mind that we could see levels of 1350, 1360, and I would buy more at those levels with a target of about 1750 to 1850. But again, this will not happen in the next couple of weeks. I may have to wait for the next possibly 6 to 8 months.
Got it. All right. Let's get straight to our first stock of the day then. Grasim. Grasim has launched its first paint business named Birla Opus. The company has opened 3 plants till now and has more plants that will open, 3 more plants to open by the end of FY25. Mangalam Malu joins us from the location to give us details. Mangalam.
The event that we've all been waiting for, Birla's launch of the paint business, has finally happened, and 3 key takeaways that have come in from the launch event that was announced. The first big one was the headline. Mr. Kumar Mangalam Birla telling you that they are targeting 10,000 crores in terms of revenue for the paint business over the next 3 years and turning profitable as well. In year 3 of their operations, 10,000 crores in gross revenue and profitable is a big headline. Why do I say that? Because for perspective, Asian Paints trailing 12 months is 35,000 crores. Berger Paints is close to around 11,000, 12,000 odd crores. So if the company, Birlas, go ahead and meet this target of theirs, within 3 years of launch, they would become the 3rd largest players in the paint space in the country and on track to become the 2nd largest profitable players, as was earlier guided for as well. The second most important thing that was unprecedented was the scale at which the company's increasing capacity. On day 1 of launch itself, 3 factories were launched, and also there was a promise of 3 more more factories coming in just the next 2 to 3 quarters, telling you that by the end of FY25, the Birla paint capacity will be close to 1.3 million KLPTA, which makes it the second highest in terms of capacity. And for perspective, again, the largest if you compare, combine the number 2, number 3 and number 4 players in terms of capacity as well. The third most important thing that stood out was the scale at which they were looking to increase their reach in the markets. 150 depots, and also wanting to expand their reach to all towns with over 1 lakh population by July, and go beyond that to all towns over 50,000 population by the end of this year, is something that tells you about their focus in the paint business itself. Should other paint companies be worried about it? Well, not so much, because the paint industry currently is around 80,000 crores, growing at around 11 to 13%, with the top leaders being Asian Paints and Berger Paints itself. Importantly, what the company does once it hits the road in terms of markets, marketing spends, etc., and then profitability is something that we will have to watch out for. But the near term definitely seems uncertain for paint companies, especially given the valuations at which they are trading currently.
Thanks a lot for that, Mangalam. Ambareesh, coming across to you. What's your take? I was terming it as David and Goliath. Now it depends on you which one is David and which one is Goliath. But, Asian Paints has been challenged in the past, but this time around, it's a far more competitive competitor. How do you stack up both these two? If Asian Paints is weaker, it hasn't given much returns in the last couple of years. Would you still buy it? Or do you believe now Grasim has enough firepower to go ahead and take out this market share?
No, see, it's not a question of deep pockets. I mean, Grasim has deep pockets. They can stay on for longer. But like I've said in the past, manufacturing paints is not a rocket science. Anyone can manufacture paints. Selling paint is to a large extent quite difficult, and that's what Asian Paints has mastered, and that's what differentiates them. And because of which you have seen that huge difference in valuations. I mean, they are at 35,000 crores, top line. And whereas you have the next two players closer to about 10,000 crores. And I suppose Grasim is planning to fit in there over the next 3 years, and there would be more, competing with Berger or Kansai Nerolac as compared to Asian Paints. Yes, Asian Paints would be affected to a certain extent, but we have already seen Asian Paints underperforming in the past, close to about 12 to 15 months. So I don't see much of a downside for Asian Paints because of this. And again, if you're talking of Ultratech selling cement to a similar set of customers, because of which the group has that background, I think we are mistaken, because selling cement versus selling paints, it's a completely different process altogether. But then, if you look at the infra and the real estate boom, which we are seeing, I think that there's enough space for Grasim as well as new players. So I think things should normalize over a period of time. So Asian Paints, I think, will continue to be a leader and will continue to get that, better sort of valuations.
Okay, sugar stocks, do stay on. Sugar stocks were also a little under pressure today, and this is after the cabinet hike the fair and remunerative price for sugarcane. The price has been increased by 8% in comparison to prices in 2023-24. But remember, this will be effective only 1st of October 2024. Vamakshi Dhoria is joining in with the details. Vamakshi.
Well, absolutely. Like you rightly pointed out, the FRP for sugarcane has been increased by 8% to rupees 340 rupees per quintal. And our initial assessment suggested that this in turn would not negatively impact sugar mills that are particularly located in the state of Uttar Pradesh. And that is because the prices in UP are governed by another pricing mechanism called SAP, which is state advised prices. So therefore, when we look at SAP, it was recently revised in UP, and therefore the price hike that was already done in SAP was already factored in by the market back then. But nevertheless, this new announcement that came through for FRP was expected to be sentimentally negative for most of these sugar counters. But interestingly, we also were joined by the management of Sri Renuka Sugars, and they believe that this hike in FRP is not negative for the sugar sector. They expect the government to increase the MSP and purchase price for ethanol, and in fact, on the back of that, the sugar companies are particularly not expected to be impacted. Additionally, they also mentioned that the sugar crop this time around was higher than estimated, and in fact, they have also signaled that the government could actually relook at restrictions on use of cane juice to make ethanol. So largely, those were the important takeaways that came in from Sri Renuka, and also the impact that we had.
Got it. All right. Thanks for that, Vamakshi. Well, let's talk about ABB India. Well, that was the other stock that was in focus. It continued its good run up to around 8% after brokerages. Well, they bet big on the stock. This came after the firm reported a robust set of numbers in Q4. That was backed by robust order inflow as well as strong revenue growth. Nimesh joins us to fill us in with all what brokerages have to say. Nimesh?
That's right, Nigel. So ABB was stock of the day for the second day, running up 20% in just 2 days on the back of very strong numbers as well as the strong commentary as well. In fact, the order flow is up 35% YOY, and that suggests a strong revenue growth visibility going forward as well. In fact, most of the analysts on the street, they believe that the operating leverage will continue to offer a double-digit growth for ABB going forward. In fact, in terms of brokerages, today Jefferies raised the target price on ABB to 61.15. Nomura has resumed the coverage on the stock with a target price of 54.70. Kotak is the only broker which has got a reduced rating with a target price of 4600. But most of the analysts seems to be quite bullish on ABB. But if you look at the shareholding pattern, the promoters own 15% and the institutions own between FIs and DIs, they own close to 15%. So only 10% is the free float, but not taking away the fact that it was a very strong quarter from ABB, and hence the stock is up 20% in 2 days and on back of very strong commentary as well.
Okay, let's just get in some. Thank you very much, Nimesh, for that. Do you want to come in on what the technicals of the market of ABB is suggesting right now? Because the stock has done very well over the last 2 days. So Shilpa, considering it's already at a record high, do you see upside? Does it make sense to buy it right now?
Right now, buying is little dicey. I wouldn't recommend, but if anybody's already holding, we have been recommending to trail the stop loss to around 5300 zones right now. But fresh buying as of now, we would not suggest. Again, on any declines to about 5300 to 5200 can again be a buying opportunity for targets of 5550 to 5800. The stock is very strong. It is well poised to test 6000 levels. But right now, on this heat of the moment, you shouldn't.
Got it. Okay. All right. Ambareesh, let's get your view in on the sweet space, so to call it, sugar. What's your take? Input cost is going up. They believe they can pass it on easily.
I mean, for this, I'll just take you back a bit. I mean, a couple of decades back, I mean, if you look at the evolution of the sugar companies in India, initially they were like third-party contract manufacturers with the risk of P&L. Raw material price was fixed by the government. Sugar selling price also was fixed by them. So they could only manufacture sugar, and the byproduct anyway was ethanol, which was used as potable alcohol. And they tried not to make losses. Then the next change which came was fuel ethanol, where they started getting some decent extra margins. Now we are at a stage where they can decide how much of sugar they want to manufacture and how much of ethanol they want to manufacture. So they have control on inventories. Now, going ahead, I mean, I think you have covered Balrampur Chini's latest announcement. I mean, this is a game changer for the sugar industry overall, because they plan to get into PLA, which is a biodegradable polymer, where the raw material is sugarcane. So this is a huge step forward, and I think this will change the face of sugar companies in India. And I think the margins will really shoot up from here. Your margins for PLA are much, much higher than what they're making for ethanol. So I think the change has started, and I think this is the time to get into sugar companies and hold on for the next 5 to 7 years.
Ambareesh, Shilpa, thank you very much for joining in. Let's get you some of the big corporate voices of the day then. First up, Sula gained close to about 2%. This is after the firm's MD CEO Rajiv Samant said that the Maharashtra government's move to extend wine industrial promotion scheme for a period of 8 years was a huge relief. He added that they received arrears to the tune of 140 crore rupees, and now this money will be used for capex and to repay debt.
Meanwhile, Indian Hotels MD and CEO Puneet Chhatwal believes that the hotel industry is in for a long innings. He also said that they aim to open 20 hotels this financial year. He also added that the Ginger Hotel brand, opened in Mumbai, is expected to contribute 100 crore rupees in FY25. Finally, MGL reported a strong set of numbers in Q3. The firm's managing director, Mr. Ashu Singhal, said that their EBITDA per standard cubic meter would be better than the guidance of 10 to 12 rupees per SCM. Speaking about volume growth, he said that they expected to grow by 5% this year and by 6 to 7% in the next fiscal. Well, with that, it's time for a short break. When you come back, we'll get to our popular segment, D-Street Chatter, along with all the top market events you need to track. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned.
As always, on Markets Forward, we prepare you for the day tomorrow. And one of the key elements of that is the big events, the stocks, the themes to watch out for. Hormus is standing by with the big events, the key events to watch out for tomorrow. Hormus.
The big event tomorrow is the fact that it's a Friday, so that's some good news to begin with. But there's a lot of stocks that are going to go ex-dividend in tomorrow's trading session, and we'll start off with some of them. It's Garden Reach Shipbuilders, Sun TV, Canterbury Retail, and a lot of other stocks that are going to go ex-dividend in tomorrow's trading session. Bosch and Bharat Forge as well, so we'll keep all of those on our radar. Some leftover earnings that will be coming in as well for the quarter. Rain Industries is one of them. We'll keep an eye out for them. Other than that, Sanofi India and Max Ventures will also be reporting results tomorrow. A board meeting for Union Bank of India as well. They've launched a QIP, so the board is going to meet tomorrow to consider the issue price for the same. And lastly, the bigger event to watch out for tomorrow is the fact the Byju's EGM that has been convened. It will be an action-packed one, so we'll keep an eye out on all of these events for tomorrow. Back to you.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that, Hormus. Well, before we wrap up, it's time for our favorite segment, D-Street Chatter. Nimesh is back with us. He's here to tell us about what went on in dealing rooms today. Nimesh, what's on your radar?
Hi, Nigel. A sharp intraday recovery for the markets, and I guess that was largely backed by FI buying, so the numbers will be important to track. But in terms of individual names, the first stock on my list is Marico. For the last couple of days, very strong buying interest from larger FIs. And looks like, there is a bit of consolidation happening in that particular stock. So that's the first name. The second name is Concor. Within the PSU name, this stock stood out on the back of very strong buy flows. So expect high delivery volumes in Concor in today's trade. The third name is Thermax. While everybody was talking about ABB and Cummins, but Thermax stood out in terms of bid interest from larger institutions. So it looks like the entire package seems to be well bid by larger institutions there. And the last name is ICICI Lombard. Again, the stock has been consolidating of late, but now I understand there could be a very large block in ICICI Lombard very soon.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Markets Forward from the entire team. Thank you for watching.